Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his face as he stared at the control screen. The distress signal was weak, but it was definitely there. His ship, the Star Runner, had been searching for salvage in the empty space beyond the outer rim for 3 weeks now. Finding anything valuable out here was rare, but a distress signal meant someone might need help. "Lisa, come take a look at this," Jake called to his engineer. Lisa Chen walked over from her workstation, her tools still in her hands. She was the best engineer Jake had ever worked with, and she could fix almost anything. "What do you have?" "Captain?" Lisa asked, looking at the screen. "A distress beacon. It's old, maybe a few months. The signal is very weak." Lisa studied the readings. "The ship sending it must be big, really big. But the power is almost gone." Jake nodded. "Dr. Rodriguez, Kate, get over here." Ben Rodriguez, the ship's medic, and Kate Williams, their security officer, joined them at the control station. "We have a possible rescue situation," Jake explained. "Or maybe salvage. The ship is about 6 hours away from our current position." Kate checked her weapons systems. "Could be a trap, Captain. Pirates sometimes use fake distress signals to lure ships in." "That's why I need you ready," Jake said. "But we can't ignore a distress call. If someone needs help, we help them. That's what humans do." The Star Runner changed course and headed toward the signal. Jake had been running salvage operations for 10 years, but he had never lost his sense of duty to help others. His crew trusted him completely. 6 hours later, they found the source of the signal. The ship floating in space was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was huge, at least 3 times the size of the Star Runner. The metal was dark and smooth, with strange curves and angles that hurt to look at for too long. "I've never seen a design like this," Lisa said, scanning the alien vessel. "The technology is way beyond anything humans have built, but there's no power left except for emergency systems." "Any life signs?" Jake asked. Ben checked his medical sensors. "Maybe. There's something alive on that ship, but the readings are very weak." Jake made his decision. "We're going aboard. Lisa, stay here and keep the engines ready. Ben, Kate, you're with me. Full protective gear." The 3 humans put on their spacesuits and took a small shuttle over to the alien ship. Finding an airlock took some time, but Lisa was able to override the door controls from the Star Runner. The inside of the alien ship was cold and dark. Emergency lights cast strange shadows on the walls. The air was thin but breathable. Everything was built for beings taller than humans. "The ship's design suggests a military or government vessel," Kate observed, checking her scanner. "Lots of security systems, even though they're not working now." They moved through the empty corridors. Jake noticed scratch marks on some of the walls, as if someone had been dragged along them. The thought made him uncomfortable. "Life signs are stronger now," Ben reported. "Whatever is alive on this ship is deeper inside, maybe several levels down." They found what looked like an elevator shaft. Kate rappelled down first to make sure it was safe, then the others followed. The lower levels were even darker and colder than the upper ones. "This looks like a prison level," Kate said when they reached the bottom. Long corridors stretched in both directions with heavy doors every few meters. Each door had a small window. Jake looked through the first window. The cell was empty. The second and third cells were also empty. They checked door after door, finding nothing but empty rooms. Then Jake heard something. It was very quiet, almost like the sound of breathing, but different. He followed the sound down the corridor until he reached the last cell. Jake looked through the small window and froze. Inside the cell was a person, but not human. The being was small, about the size of a teenage girl, with blue-tinted skin that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. She was curled up in the corner of the cell, and she was crying. She had no clothes, no blanket, nothing to cover herself. The cell was empty except for a small water dispenser and what looked like a feeding tube. The floor was metal and cold. "Ben, Kate, come here," Jake called quietly. His crewmates joined him at the window. Ben immediately started checking his medical equipment. "She's alive, but barely," Ben whispered. "Malnutrition, exposure, probably other medical problems. She won't survive much longer without help." The alien girl looked up suddenly, as if she had heard them. Her eyes were large and silver, filled with fear and pain. When she saw the three humans looking at her through the window, she pressed herself further into the corner of the cell. "She's terrified," Jake said. "Look at her. She thinks we're going to hurt her." Kate found the cell controls. "I can open the door. But Captain, we don't know anything about her. She could be dangerous. Maybe she's in prison for a good reason." Jake looked at the girl again. She was shaking, whether from cold or fear. He couldn't tell. Her silver eyes never left his face, but there was something in them besides fear. There was a tiny spark of hope. "Look at her, Kate. Does she look dangerous to you? Someone left her here to die. That's not justice. That's cruelty." Ben was already preparing medical supplies. "If we're going to help her, we need to do it now. Her vital signs are getting weaker." Jake made his decision. "Open the door." The cell door slid open with a soft hiss. The alien girl pressed herself against the wall, making a sound that might have been words in a language Jake had never heard. She was begging, he realized. Begging them not to hurt her. Jake slowly entered the cell, his hands visible and empty. He moved very carefully, the way he would approach a frightened animal. The girl watched every movement, ready to try to run even though she had nowhere to go. "It's okay," Jake said softly. "We're here to help you. We won't hurt you." She didn't understand his words, but something in his voice made her stop shaking quite so much. Jake knelt down a few feet away from her, making himself smaller and less threatening. "Ben, bring that emergency blanket," Jake said without turning around. Slowly, Ben carefully passed Jake a thermal blanket. Jake held it out to show the girl, then placed it on the floor between them. She stared at it for a long moment, then slowly reached for it. The moment she touched the blanket, she began to cry again. But this time Jake realized she wasn't crying from despair. She was crying because someone had shown her kindness. Jake knew in that moment that nothing would ever be the same. They had found more than just a survivor. They had found the beginning of something that would change everything. The alien girl held the blanket close to her body as Ben carefully examined her. She flinched every time he moved, but she didn't try to run away. Jake stayed nearby, speaking in calm, gentle tones, even though she couldn't understand him. "Her body temperature is too low," Ben said quietly. "She's been without proper food for weeks, maybe months. There are old injuries that never healed properly. Someone hurt her badly." Jake felt anger rising in his chest. What kind of people would do this to someone? Kate was studying the cell. "Door controls. Captain, these aren't prison controls, these are laboratory controls. This wasn't a jail cell, it was an experiment chamber." The alien girl seemed to understand Kate's serious tone. She pulled the blanket tighter and made soft sounds that might have been words. Her large silver eyes kept looking at the door, as if she expected guards to come back. "We need to get her to the medical bay on our ship," Ben said. "I can't help her properly here." Jake nodded. "Can she walk?" Ben helped the girl stand up. Her legs shook and she had to lean against the wall for support. She was taller than Jake had thought, maybe 5.5 feet, but she was too thin. Her blue skin had dark marks that looked like old bruises. "I'll carry her," Jake said. The girl's eyes went wide with fear when Jake approached. She pressed against the wall again, making that begging sound. "It's okay," Jake said softly. "I won't hurt you. We want to help you get better." Something in his voice or his expression seemed to calm her. When Jake slowly reached out his arms, she didn't run away. He picked her up carefully, making sure the blanket covered her. She was so light like a bird. The trip back to the Star Runner took longer than expected. The girl was weak, and the movement made her sick. Ben had to stop several times to let her rest. But eventually they made it to their ship's medical bay. Lisa was waiting for them. When she saw the alien girl, her face showed shock and then anger. "Who did this to her?" Lisa asked. "We don't know yet," Jake said. "But we're going to find out." Ben spent the next few hours taking care of the girl's medical needs. He gave her fluids and nutrients through an IV. He treated her injuries and gave her medicine for pain. Jake stayed with her the whole time. The girl watched everything Ben did with curious eyes. When he showed her medical tools before using them, She seemed less afraid. She was very intelligent, Jake realized. She understood that they were trying to help her. While Ben worked, Lisa went back to the alien ship to study its computers. What she found made everyone angry. "It's a prison ship," Lisa reported when she returned. "But not for criminals. It's for people they call defectives. People who are born different." Jake looked at the girl sleeping in the medical bed. "Different? How?" Lisa checked her notes. "The ship's records are hard to translate, but it seems like the girl has some kind of mental ability. She can sense emotions or thoughts. Her people think this makes her dangerous." "Dangerous?" Kate laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "She's barely alive. How could she be dangerous?" "Because she can feel what others feel," Lisa said. "In her society, that's considered a sickness. They think people who care too much about others are broken." Ben shook his head. "That's insane. Caring about others is what makes us human. Maybe that's the problem," Jake said quietly. "Maybe her people aren't like us." Over the next few days, the girl slowly got stronger. Ben's medical care helped her body heal, but her mind was still full of fear. She jumped at sudden noises. She wouldn't eat unless someone she trusted was nearby. She had terrible nightmares that made her cry out in her own language. Jake spent hours with her every day. He brought her food and sat quietly while she ate. He showed her pictures of Earth and human cities. He taught her simple English words like water and food and safe. The girl was a fast learner. Within 3 days, she could say, "Thank you," in English. Within a week, she could have simple conversations. Her voice was soft and musical even when she was afraid. "My name is Zara," she told Jake one day. It was the first time she had said her own name. "Zara," Jake repeated. "That's a beautiful name. I'm Jake." "Jake," she said, trying to copy his pronunciation. "Jake, help Zara." "Yes," Jake said. "Jake helps Zara. We all help Zara." Slowly, Zara began to trust the other crew members too. She liked Lisa because Lisa was patient and explained how things worked. She trusted Ben because his hands were always gentle when he helped her. She was still nervous around Kate, but she understood that Kate kept everyone safe. The breakthrough came when Zara saw Jake cut his hand on a piece of broken equipment. She immediately started crying, not because she was sad, but because she could feel Jake's pain as if it were her own. "Zara, feel Jake hurt," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Zara, sorry Jake hurt." That's when Jake understood what made Zara special. She didn't just understand emotions. She felt them. When someone else was in pain, she was in pain too. When someone was happy, she was happy too. "Her people think this is a sickness," Jake said to his crew later. "But it's not a sickness, it's a gift. She cares about others more than she cares about herself." "No wonder her people locked her up," Kate said. "A society that sees caring as weakness would be terrified of someone like her." Lisa had been studying more of the alien ship's records. "It gets worse," she said. "The ship was carrying hundreds of prisoners like Zara, but there was some kind of emergency, a plague or disease outbreak. The guards abandoned the ship and left all the prisoners to die." "All of them?" Ben asked. "Zara is the only survivor. Her cell had better life support than the others. She lived for months while everyone around her died." Jake felt sick thinking about it. Zara had survived not just imprisonment and torture, but the deaths of hundreds of other people like her. People who could feel emotions the way she could. The grief must have been overwhelming. "She's been carrying all that pain alone," Jake said. That night, Jake found Zara sitting by the window in the medical bay, looking out at the stars. She seemed calmer than usual, but there was deep sadness in her silver eyes. "Zara thinking about friends?" Jake asked gently. She nodded. "All gone. Zara alone." Jake sat down next to her. "Zara not alone now. Zara has friends. Zara has family." For the first time since they found her, Zara smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "Jake family?" she asked. "Yes," Jake said. "Jake family, Lisa family, Ben family, Kate family. We're all Zara's family now." Zara leaned against Jake's shoulder, and for the first time in her life, she felt safe. She had found people who didn't see her gift as a curse. She had found people who understood that feeling deeply wasn't a weakness, but Jake knew their problems were just beginning. Soon, they would have to return to human space. And when they did, questions would be asked. Questions about where Zara came from and whether her people would come looking for her. Jake didn't know it yet, but those questions would change everything for both species. 3 weeks passed as the Star Runner traveled back toward human space. Every day Zara grew stronger and learned more about her new friends. Jake had moved her from the medical bay to a real room with a bed, clothes, and books with pictures. Zara loved the books. She would sit for hours looking at pictures of Earth. Mountains covered in green trees, blue oceans with white waves, cities full of people walking and talking and laughing together. Her favorite pictures were of families. Human, parents with their children, grandparents holding babies, friends having meals together. People on Earth live together like this? She asked Jake one day, pointing to a picture of a family having dinner. Yes, Jake said. Families stay together. They take care of each other. Zara's eyes filled with tears. Zara family taken when Zara small, never see again. Jake felt angry every time Zara told him something new about her past. Her people had torn children away from their families just because they could feel emotions strongly. It was cruel beyond understanding. Lisa had been working hard to translate more of the alien ship's computer files. What she discovered made everyone understand how different Zara's people really were. They call themselves the Catherians, Lisa explained to the crew. Their whole society is based on control and logic. They think emotions make people weak and stupid. But emotions make people stronger, Ben said. Love makes people fight harder to protect others. Sadness teaches people to help those who are suffering. The Catherians don't see it that way, Lisa continued. To them, someone who feels too much is like someone with a disease. They think it might spread to other people. Kate shook her head. So they lock up children like Zara? Worse than that. Most of the records I found are about experiments. They were trying to find ways to remove the ability to feel emotions. They wanted to cure people like Zara. Jake felt sick. They experimented on her? For years, according to her medical files. They tried drugs, surgery, even some kind of brain treatments. Nothing worked. Zara kept feeling what others felt. That evening, Jake found Zara in the ship's common area, trying to play a simple card game Lisa had taught her, but she was having trouble focusing. Her hands were shaking, slightly. Zara okay? Jake asked, sitting down next to her. Jake feel worried, Zara said. Zara feel Jake worried about Zara. It still amazed Jake how clearly Zara could sense emotions. She always knew what people were feeling, sometimes before they knew it themselves. Yes, Jake worried about Zara, he admitted. Jake worried about... What happens when we get home? Zara nodded sadly. Zara, no. Other people won't send Zara back. No, Jake said firmly. Jake never let that happen. Jake promised Zara safe. But even as he made the promise, Jake knew it might be impossible to keep. When they reached human space, there would be officials asking questions, scientists wanting to study Zara, politicians worried about contact with alien species. The next day, Zara surprised everyone by asking to help with work around the ship. Ben taught her how to organize medical supplies. Lisa showed her basic engineering tasks. Kate even let her help with simple security checks. Zara was good at everything because she could sense when something was wrong. If a machine was about to break, she felt its stress before anyone could see the problem. If someone was getting sick, she knew before they had symptoms. She's amazing, Lisa told Jake. She learns faster than anyone I've ever seen, and she cares so much about doing a good job. Jake watched Zara working carefully to repair a broken communication panel. Her face was serious with concentration, but she looked happy. For the first time in her life, she was useful. She was helping people who cared about her. That night, Zara came to Jake with questions that had been troubling her. Jake, she said. Why Jake help Zara? Jake not know Zara. Zara may be dangerous like Catherian people say. Jake thought carefully about how to answer. Humans help because it's right thing to do. When someone is hurt, we help them. When someone is afraid, we make them feel safe. That's what makes us human. But Zara not human. Doesn't matter, Jake said. Zara feels like humans feel. Zara cares like humans care. Zara is family. Tears ran down Zara's blue cheeks. Cytherian people say Zara broken. Say Zara feel too much. Make Zara sick inside. Jake felt anger burning in his chest. Zara not broken. Zara perfect the way Zara is. People who can't feel are the ones who are broken. Jake really think so? Jake know so. Over the following days, Zara began to open up more about her life before the prison ship. She told them about being taken from her parents when she was 7 years old. About the cold white rooms where doctors tried to fix her broken mind. About other children like her who disappeared one by one when the treatments failed. Zara had friend named Kess, she said one day while helping Ben in the medical bay. Kess feel animals' emotions. Could talk to creatures without words. Doctors take Kess away for special treatment. Kess never come back. Ben's hands stopped, moving as he listened. What happened to Kess? Don't know. Maybe died. Maybe something worse. Ben looked at Jake with horror in his eyes. These people had killed children just for being able to feel compassion. But Zara also shared happier memories. She remembered her mother singing to her in the Cytherian language. She remembered her father teaching her to sense the emotions of plants in their garden. She remembered feeling loved before the doctors told her that love was a sickness. Zara. Parents love Zara? Jake asked. Yes. But parents told Zara needed help. Doctors say treatment makes Zara normal. Then Zara come home. Parents believe doctors. Jake wondered if Zara's parents ever learned the truth about what happened to their daughter. Did they think she was cured and living a normal life somewhere? Or did they know she had been sent to die on a prison ship? The most difficult conversation came when Zara asked about human families. Jake have children? She asked. No, Jake said. Jake not married. Jake travel too much for family. Jake want children someday. Jake thought about it. Before finding Zara, he had never really wanted to settle down. Space was his home, and his crew was his family. But watching Zara learn and grow and smile had changed something inside him. Maybe, Jake said. If Jake find right person. What make right person? Someone kind. Someone who cares about others. Someone who makes Jake feel happy. Zara nodded, seriously. Like how Zara feel about Jake and Lisa and Ben and Kate. Yes, like that. Then Zara understand love. 2 days before they were supposed to reach human space, something unexpected happened. Zara was helping Kate with security scans when the ship's long-range communications started picking up transmissions in the Cytherian language. There are ships looking for something, Zara said, her face pale with fear. They are asking about escaped prisoner. They described Zara. Jake felt cold. How many ships? Kate checked the scanner readings. At least 3. Big ones. Military vessels. They found us, Zara whispered. They come for Zara. But instead of the terror Jake expected to see in her eyes, he saw determination. Zara stood up straight and looked at each of her human friends. Zara not let Jake and Lisa and Ben and Kate get hurt, she said. Zara go with Cytherian ships. Zara tell them humans not know about prisoner. No, Jake said immediately. We don't give up family. Ever. But Cytherian ships have big weapons, can destroy Star Runner. Kate was already preparing the ship's defenses. Let them try. We've faced worse odds. Lisa was calculating their chances. If we change course now, we might be able to reach human space before they catch us. Ben was checking medical supplies in case someone got hurt. But Jake was looking at Zara, seeing the love and sacrifice in her silver eyes. She was willing to give up her freedom, maybe her life, to save the humans who had rescued her. Zara, Jake said gently. Remember what Jake told Zara about humans? Humans help because it's right thing to do. Right. And giving up family is never right thing to do. We stay together. We fight together. We protect each other. For the first time since they had found her, Zara smiled without any sadness in her eyes. She had found something her own people had tried to destroy in her. She had found a family worth fighting for. The Catherian ships were getting closer, but Jake wasn't afraid. He had something they didn't understand. He had people who would die before they abandoned someone they loved. The real test was about to begin. The Star Runner reached human space just hours before the Catherian ships caught up with them. Jake had sent emergency messages ahead, and now Admiral Susan Clark herself was waiting for them at Gateway Station, humanity's main defense outpost, on the edge of known space. As soon as the Star Runner docked, Jake found himself facing a room full of military officers, scientists, and government officials. All of them wanted to know about the alien girl his crew had rescued. Captain Morrison, Admiral Clark said, "You need to understand the situation. These Catherian ships are the most advanced vessels we've ever encountered. Their weapons could destroy this entire station. They're demanding we return their prisoner." Jake stood straighter. "She's not a prisoner, Admiral. She's a refugee. Her own people tried to kill her just for being born different." "Different how?" asked Dr. Patricia Stone, the lead government scientist. Jake looked around the room at all the serious faces. "She can feel what other people feel. She has empathy. Her people think that makes her dangerous." Several officers laughed, but Admiral Clark silenced them with a look. "Explain," she said. "Zara can sense emotions like we can see colors," Jake said. "When someone is in pain, she feels that pain. When someone is happy, she feels happy too. Her people imprisoned her because they think caring too much about others is a mental illness." Dr. Stone frowned. "That's unusual. A society that views empathy as a disease?" "More than that," Jake said. "They experimented on her for years, trying to remove her ability to feel emotions. When that failed, they put her on a prison ship and left her to die." The room was quiet as people thought about what Jake had said. Admiral Clark looked troubled. "Where is she now?" the Admiral asked. "In the medical bay with Dr. Rodriguez. She's still recovering from months of starvation and abuse. We need to examine her," Dr. Stone said. "If she has telepathic abilities." "No," Jake said firmly. "No more experiments. No more tests. She's been through enough." Admiral Clark held up her hand. "Captain Morrison, I understand your feelings. But this is first contact with an alien species. The decisions we make here will affect all of humanity." At that moment, the station's communications officer rushed in. "Admiral, the Catherian ships are hailing us. They want to talk." Admiral Clark nodded. "Put them on the main screen." The view screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of a Catherian warship. The alien standing in the center was tall and thin, with the same blue-tinted skin as Zara but with cold, emotionless eyes. His uniform was dark and severe. "I am Commander Vex Kalen of the Catherian Empire," the alien said in perfect English. "You are harboring a dangerous criminal. Return her immediately." Admiral Clark stepped forward. "I am Admiral Clark of the Human Defense Force. We rescued a survivor from your derelict prison ship. She was dying. The subject is a genetic defective," Commander Callan replied. "She poses a threat to social stability. Her condition is highly contagious." Jake couldn't stay quiet. "She's not sick. She's just able to care about other people." Commander Kalen's cold eyes focused on Jake. "You are the one who found her. You do not understand the danger you have exposed yourselves to. Emotional contagion spreads quickly among primitive species." "Primitive?" Admiral Clark's voice was dangerous. "Commander, I suggest you choose your words more carefully." "Facts are not insults," Commander Kalen said. "Your species still experiences uncontrolled emotional responses. The defective's influence could destabilize your entire civilization." Dr. Stone stepped forward. "What exactly do you mean by emotional contagion?" "The defective can sense and manipulate the emotional states of others. She will cause you to make irrational decisions based on feelings rather than logic. This is how the condition spreads." Jake felt anger burning in his chest. "She doesn't manipulate anyone. She just cares about people." Caring is the first symptom, Commander Kalen said calmly. Soon you will make decisions that harm your own interest to help others. You will risk your lives for strangers. You will choose compassion over survival. This is the disease she carries. Admiral Clark looked confused. Commander, those don't sound like symptoms of a disease. Those sound like virtues. Precisely. The response we expected from an infected population, Commander Kalen replied. Return the defective now, and we will provide medical treatment for all exposed individuals. Treatment? Dr. Stone asked. Neural restructuring to remove excessive emotional responses. You will retain enough emotion for basic survival needs, but not enough to impair logical thinking. The room erupted. Several officers started shouting at once. Admiral Clark had to call for order. You're talking about brain surgery, Dr. Stone said. You want to remove our ability to feel? Correct. It is the only way to prevent the spread of emotional dysfunction. Jake stepped closer to the screen. What did you do with the other prisoners on that ship? Commander Kalen showed no emotion. They were eliminated when containment failed. The ship was abandoned to prevent further contamination. You murdered them, Jake said quietly. We prevented a disease outbreak that could have destroyed our civilization. Admiral Clark had heard enough. Commander Kalen, the individual in question, is under our protection. We will not be returning her to you. Then you choose war, Commander Kalen said. Our ships will take her by force if necessary. Your ships are outnumbered, Admiral Clark replied. This station has significant defenses. Your primitive weapons cannot match our technology, but we offer one alternative. A formal first contact meeting. Your leaders and ours will negotiate the return of the defective and establish protocols for future interaction between our species. Admiral Clark considered this. A formal first contact meeting would buy time and prevent an immediate battle, but it would also put Zara's fate in the hands of politicians who might not understand what they were dealing with. I'll need to consult with my superiors, Admiral Clark said. You have 6 hours, Commander Kalen replied. After that, we take action. The screen went dark. The room exploded into discussion as officers and officials argued about what to do next. Jake slipped away from the meeting and went to find Zara. He found her in the medical bay with Ben, but she was sitting by the window, tears streaming down her face. Zara heard, she said when she saw Jake. Zara know what Catherian commander said. Don't worry, Jake said. We won't let them take you. Jake not understand, Zara said sadly. If humans fight Catherians, many humans die. All because of Zara. No, Ben said firmly. Because Catherians think caring about others is wrong, because they murder children for being able to feel love. Zara looked out the window at the Catherian ships. Maybe Zara should go back. Maybe stop war before it starts. Jake knelt down next to her chair. Zara, remember what Jake told you about humans. We don't abandon family, ever. But humans die if Zara stay. Humans die if Zara go back too, Jake said. We die inside. We die in our hearts, because we know we let evil people win. At that moment, Lisa rushed into the medical bay. Captain, you need to see this. I've been monitoring human communications networks. News about Zara is spreading. Jake followed Lisa to a computer terminal. The screen showed news reports from across human space. Someone had leaked the story of the alien refugee, and humanity was responding. Look at this, Lisa said, switching between news channels. Protests on Earth demanding we protect her. Military volunteers asking to join the defense fleet. Scientists saying we need to learn from someone who can teach us about empathy. Jake watched in amazement. Thousands of humans were calling for their governments to protect one alien girl they had never met. Ships were volunteering to come help defend Gateway Station. Children were making drawings of blue-skinned aliens surrounded by human friends. They don't even know her, Jake said. They don't need to, Ben replied. They know what's right. Zara was watching the news reports with wonder in her eyes. All these humans want help, Zara? Yes, Jake said, because that's what humans do. We protect people who can't protect themselves. But Jake also saw the reports of government officials arguing about the risks of war with an advanced alien species. Some were saying humanity couldn't afford to fight over one individual. Others were saying humanity couldn't afford not to fight for their principles. The next few hours would decide not just Zara's fate, but what kind of species humanity would choose to be when facing their first contact with alien intelligence. Jake knew one thing for certain. Whatever happened next, Zara had already changed humanity forever. She had reminded them of what made them special in a cold, logical universe. She had reminded them how to care. The 6-hour deadline was approaching fast. In conference rooms across human space, government leaders were arguing about what to do. Some wanted to avoid war at any cost. Others said giving up an innocent refugee would destroy humanity's soul. Jake sat with Zara in the medical bay, watching the news reports. More and more human ships were arriving at Gateway Station. Not just military vessels, but civilian transports, cargo haulers, and even personal spacecraft. Ordinary people who had come to stand between Zara and the Catherian fleet. Captain Amy Peterson reporting for duty, came a voice over the communication system. Jake recognized the name. Peterson was a famous explorer who had discovered 3 new star systems. My ship and crew volunteer to help defend the station. This is cargo vessel Big Bear, came another voice. We're not military, but we're not leaving either. More and more voices joined in. Farmers, traders, miners, scientists, humans from every walk of life were coming to defend one alien girl they had never met. Zara was crying again, but these were different tears. Why do all these people help Zara? She asked. They don't know. Zara might not be worth saving. Jake took her hand. Every person is worth saving. That's what makes us human. At that moment, Admiral Clark entered the medical bay. Her face was serious, but there was determination in her eyes. The government has made their decision, she said. We're not handing you over to the Catherians. Jake felt relief flood through him. What changed their minds? Admiral Clark smiled slightly. The people. Millions of humans demanding we do the right thing. The government can't ignore that kind of unity. But the Catherian ships, Zara said worriedly, are outnumbered 50-1 now. Admiral Clark replied. Half the human fleet has volunteered to protect you. Captain Peterson is organizing the defense. Jake looked out the window and saw more ships arriving every minute. Small civilian craft positioning themselves between the station and the Catherian vessels. It was the largest gathering of human ships anyone had ever seen. They're going to fight for Zara? Ben asked, amazement in his voice. They already are fighting for her, Admiral Clark said, by showing the Catherians what humans are made of. An hour before the deadline, Commander Kalen requested another communication. This time, his cold expression showed the first crack Jake had seen in his composure. Your response is irrational, Commander Kalen said. You risk your entire species for one defective individual. Admiral Clark stood proudly before the screen. We risk our species for our principles, that's what makes us human. This gathering of ships proves the contagion has already spread, Commander Kalen replied. Your people are making emotional decisions that endanger their survival. Jake stepped forward. Commander, let me ask you something. If you were trapped and dying, would any of your people risk their lives to save you? Commander Kalen paused. Risk assessment would determine the logical response. That's not what I asked. Would they risk their lives because they cared about you as a person? Personal attachment is inefficient. It leads to poor decisions, like the decision to keep a young girl alive when she was starving in a prison cell, Jake asked. That was an illogical waste of resources. Jake nodded. That's the difference between us. We think saving lives is never a waste. On the screen, something changed in Commander Kalen's expression. For just a moment, his cold mask slipped, and Jake saw something that might have been confusion. Your species will destroy itself with these emotional responses, Commander Kalen said, but his voice was less certain than before. Maybe, Admiral Clark replied, but we'll destroy ourselves being true to who we are, not by becoming something we hate. The communication ended. The Catherian ships held their position, but they didn't attack. The deadline came and went. Hours passed in tense silence. Then something unexpected happened. A smaller Catherian ship broke away from the main fleet and approached the station under a flag of truce. "This is Sub-Commander Yara of the Catherian Science Division," came a new voice. "I request permission to come aboard your station." "Admiral." Clark was suspicious. "For what purpose?" "To understand what we are seeing. Your species' response is unprecedented in our experience." Jake had an idea. "Admiral, let me suggest something. Let Sub-Commander Yara meet Zara. Let her see what her people tried to destroy." An hour later, Sub-Commander Yara stood in the medical bay staring at Zara. The Catherian officer was older than Zara, with the same blue skin but eyes that seemed less cold than Commander Callan's. "You are the defective," Yara said. Zara not. "Defective," Zara replied calmly. "Zara different. Different not same as broken." Yara studied Zara carefully. "You can sense my emotional state?" "Yes." "You feel confused. You feel curious. You want to understand something." Yara stepped closer. "What do you sense about these humans?" Zara looked around at Jake, Ben, Lisa, Kate, and Admiral Clark. "They feel love. They feel protection. They want to keep Zara safe even if dangerous for them." "Why?" Yara asked. "You are not their species. You offer them no strategic advantage." "Because caring about others makes humans strong," Zara said. "Not weak like Catherian people think." Yara was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something that surprised everyone. She reached out and gently touched Zara's hand. The moment their skin made contact, Yara gasped and stepped back. Her eyes were wide with shock. "What did you feel?" Jake asked. "I felt..." Yara struggled with the words. "I felt her care for you. All of you. She would die to protect you, just as you would die to protect her." "Is that so terrible?" "Admiral," Clark asked. Yara looked around the room at the humans, then back at Zara. "On our world, such feelings were eliminated generations ago. We were told they made us weak and inefficient. But now you've seen what they really make us," Jake said. "They make us willing to stand together, to fight for each other, to never abandon someone who needs help." Yara nodded slowly. "I begin to understand why hundreds of your ships came here. Not for strategic reasons, but because..." She paused, struggling with the concept. "Because it was the right thing to do." Over the next several hours, something remarkable happened. Sub-Commander Yara spent time with each member of Jake's crew, asking questions and trying to understand human emotions. She was particularly fascinated by the idea that humans could choose to care about strangers. "On our world," Yara explained, "efficiency and logic are the highest values. We eliminated those who felt too deeply because we believed emotions led to chaos." "But look around," Ben said, gesturing toward the window where human ships surrounded the station. "Do you see chaos? Or do you see people working together for a common good?" Yara looked out at the fleet of volunteer ships. "I see cooperation without central command, unity without coercion. It should not be possible." "It's possible because humans care about each other," Zara said. "Care makes people want to help, not hurt." That evening, Yara requested a private meeting with Commander Callan. Jake and the others couldn't hear what was said, but they could see the heated discussion on the Catherian flagship's bridge through the view screen. The next morning, Commander Callan himself came to the station. But instead of demanding Zara's return, he made an unexpected request. "I wish to observe this individual myself," he said, "to understand what has caused such irrational behavior in your species." Jake was suspicious. "You want to experiment on her?" "No, I wish to understand." The meeting between Commander Callan and Zara was tense at first. The Catherian commander stared at her with his cold, analytical gaze. "You are responsible for this gathering of ships," he said. "No," Zara replied. "Humans responsible." Humans choose to help because helping is right thing to do. Right according to whom? Right according to hearts, Zara said simply. When someone suffers, good people help. When someone is afraid, good people protect. This not hard to understand. Commander Kalen studied her for a long moment. Your presence has caused these humans to risk war with a superior force. How do you justify this? Zara not ask humans to risk anything. Humans choose because humans good people. Better people than Zara own people. For the first time, Jake saw something crack in Commander Kalen's cold expression. You condemn your own species? Zara loved Kitherian people, Zara said sadly. But Kitherian people afraid of love think love makes them weak, so they become truly weak. Too weak to care about others. Commander Kalen was quiet for several minutes. When he spoke again, his voice was different somehow. What would happen, he said slowly, if we allowed others like you to live freely? Others, like Zara, would help people, would make Kitherian society stronger, not weaker, would teach Kitherians how to care again. And if our society rejected this teaching? Zara smiled sadly. Then Kitherians stay cold and alone forever. But humans show there is better way. That night, Commander Kalen made an announcement that shocked both species. The Kitherian Empire will not pursue the return of the individual you call Zara, he said. Furthermore, we propose a cultural exchange program. Some of your people will come to our worlds to teach us about emotional cooperation, and some of our people will come to your worlds to learn. Jake could hardly believe what he was hearing. You're going to let others like Zara live free? We are going to reconsider our approach to those who feel deeply, Commander Kalen said carefully. Perhaps there is strength in caring that